Today I'm going to talk a little bit about what we are doing at Qualcomm, the latest innovation. We believe that the mobile industry is in a very exciting place these days. All the industry forces are aligning, they're joining together to create a perfect storm of opportunity for everybody, all the stakeholders in the industry. I would like to focus on the three major areas in this industry, mainly networks, devices, and applications and services. We have seen tremendous growth in 3G subscribers all over the world, driven by 2G to 3G migrations in a lot of emerging countries. We expect this trend to continue with the new licenses being issued in places such as China and India. The progress in 3G networks are tremendous. 3G is becoming very ubiquitous these days. Many of the countries here in the Middle East have deployed HSPA Plus at 21 megabits per second. Some countries have even deployed dual carry HSPA at 42 megabits per second. On the devices, we see that smartphones are becoming more and more mainstream these days, with everybody trying to take advantage of the applications and services that those smartphones are offering. So in my presentation, I would like to focus on those three areas, and I'm going to be using quite a bit of videos here to illustrate my points. For several reasons, one of which is that to make the presentation less dry and provide to you a little bit of entertainment. And also, we believe that a picture is worth a thousand words. So on the networks, we see a lot of life in 3G left. As Dr. Abdel Malik mentioned earlier today, the drive now in the industry is to have 3G future-proof. So a lot of drive is being engineered now to provide significant enhancements in the future of 3G, especially HSPA plus. Right now, we can see a lot of networks that are offering 10 megahertz dual carrier, offering 42 megabits per second downlink. And the trend is continuing with trying to aggregate more and more carriers, because spectrum is becoming more and more scarce. And one trend is becoming for operators to try to leverage as much spectrum as they have. So for example, if you have some spectrum in the 900 megahertz and you need it for 3G, the evolution of the standard will allow you to aggregate that 5 megahertz carrier in the 900 or 1800 or even in the L band and use it for HSPA. If you look at the traffic that's being generated on the networks today, it's typically asymmetrical, meaning that the amount of download is much bigger than the amount of uploads. We did some studies for some operators. We saw, if you look at the chart here, operator 2 in the US, they have about 9 times download more than the upload. Which means that in some markets, the spectrum is not really being used very efficiently. Because in HSPA, we are using the FDD model, which is the frequency division duplex, which means that you need a paired amount of spectrum. So if you have 5 megahertz on the bandwidth on the downlink, you also need 5 megahertz on the uplink. And that's sometimes that's a waste of spectrum. There is a TDD mode in the 3GPP specification, but it hasn't been adopted worldwide. So everybody is using the FDD mode.
first of all, the big theme is that the consumers, the users, they're connected. Okay? And just to talk about the scale of this, globally, according to external data, 2 billion people are connected, right? And then in MENA, the number varies, but the number that we believe in is that 80 million people are online in the Middle East, North Africa. Now, and then this number is growing pretty fast in the region. This has been growing up by 40% year over year in the last 4 years. And if you think about it, this year, that means 1.5 million people every single month are coming online. Okay? Now, that's a significant shift. Now, and then also another trend is obviously the mobile, which has been going on since a longer time. There are 5 billion mobile connections, mobile subscriptions in the world. And then something very interesting happened in Q4 of last year. There were more smartphones sold than there were PCs that were sold. Okay? Now, and keep in mind that the smartphones that we have in our hands today, they're actually as powerful as the PCs that we had just a few years ago. Right? So there's a significant increase in the computing that is going on. And I'll come back to this. Now, so what does this mean? Now, we ran a research in Middle East, North Africa to see where the users' interests are. And then we asked them, so as part of this, we asked them a specific question. How do you spend, where do you spend your time? Where do you spend your media time? Okay. And in Saudi Arabia, similar to the other countries that we ran the research in, the results came in. Now, the not so surprising part was that TV was pretty high on the list. So people spend 28% of their time of their media time on TV. What was interesting is that people spend 29% of their media time online. Okay? So people spend more time online than they spend in front of TV. Okay? So the exact numbers were 133 minutes per day in front of the internet, and 130 minutes per day in front of the TV. And the numbers were very similar in Morocco, in Egypt, in UAE, where we ran the research. So people are connected, and also they have information at their fingertips. Okay? Now, this is a vision that we have been working on. As you know, our mission as a company is to make is to organize the world's information and then make it accessible and useful. And so today we see that we're getting nearer and nearer to this. There are 4 billion searches per day. And globally, right now, what's also more interesting is that mobile now is catching up pace. Okay? And it's growing significantly faster than desktop grew at a comparable time, right? which is the early 90s. And according to internal Google data, Google mobile searches are more than doubling every single year. Okay? So the share of mobile searches in total searches are increasing. Now, where are we in MENA? So some numbers have been mentioned. These are the official numbers from Google. There are 120 million searches per day in Google in the Middle East, North Africa, and then YouTube views are pretty similar. Now, if you think about it, think about 80 million people online, 120 million searches per day. That's almost 1.5 search per day per person in the Middle East, North Africa. So people are searching for information, and this number is where countries like Poland or Turkey were 3 or 4 years ago. Okay? So this will only increase in the coming months. Now, and then also, if you look back, earlier this year, after the events in Egypt and in Tunisia, the internet came to the forefront and it became a household name. Just in early February, there were, and this is true for the whole industry, not only for us. In early February, the estimations are that there were 1 million new Facebook users in the region, and also we have seen a tenfold increase in new search coming from the region. Okay? And then also in YouTube specifically, we have seen a 50% growth in the uploads from the users. So the internet is becoming more and more available to people, and then so this is bringing more content online.